Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Susan Welton, and I'm the Oracle Marketing Manager at Perficient. And I'm excited to be moderating today's webinar on building a 360-degree view of customers with Oracle BI Cloud Service. We are very fortunate to have Perficient's Vice President of the Oracle Business Unit on the call today, as well as Shiv Bharti, Director of the BI and Analytics Practice at Perficient. They'll set the stage with challenges leading to silos of customer information. They'll cover an approach to building a complete 360-degree view of the customer, and then they're going to wrap up with a case study. Two questions often come up with our online events. Can I get a copy of the slides, and can I watch the presentation again? The answer to both questions is yes. We are recording today, so we will email you with that information on how to access both the slides and the recording following today's event. Time permitting, we will have a Q&A session at the end of this event. So please type your questions into the chat box, and you can feel free to do that at any time. We won't be addressing questions during the event. We'll have that Q&A session hopefully at the end with time permitting, but feel free to pop those questions into that chat box as soon as a question arises so you don't forget. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Tom Munley and Shiv Bharti. Tom leads Perficient's Oracle practice, which includes our Enterprise Performance Management, Enterprise Resource Planning, and Oracle Emerging Solutions groups. Over the past 19 years, Tom has been leading consulting teams focused on helping clients solve complex business problems through the application of technology and the changing of business processes. Shiv is the Director of Perficient's Oracle Business Intelligence practice. Shiv has successfully led the implementation of more than 75 Oracle BI and custom data warehouse projects, and has helped countless clients across industries implement BI solutions to drive value with their technology investments. Tom and Shiv, welcome.
Thanks, Susan. This is Tom Munley. Thanks for everybody for joining this afternoon on our 360-degree view webinar. So just a quick review of the agenda. I'm going to start with a quick overview of who Perficient is, and then I'm going to get into a little bit of a conversation around what are customer blind spots and what are some of the challenges to eliminating those blind spots. I'll then transition to Shiv, who will talk about the considerations to addressing those blind spots, offer an approach for building a complete view of the customer, give an example from a client case study, and demonstrate the solution. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Perficient Marketing Analytics solution that we offer, as well as discuss some best practices for cloud business intelligence. A quick first note about Perficient. So Perficient, for those of you who don't know, is a leading digital transformation consulting firm serving the Global 2000 and enterprise customers throughout North America. With 27 offices in the United States and 4 offices throughout the world for development purposes, we have unparalleled capabilities in information technology, management consulting, as well as creative capabilities. Perficient's profile was Perficient was founded in 1997. We are publicly traded on the NASDAQ, and we had 2015 revenues of $473 million. As I mentioned, we've got offices in 27 cities across the United States and Canada. We also have global delivery centers in both China as well as India, and we're at 3,000 colleagues. Our most proud statistic is our 95% repeat business rate. Not to mention the fact that we've got alliance partnerships with major technology vendors, as well as multiple vendor, and we've won multiple vendor and industry technology and growth awards. Our BI practice in particular has a long tenure. Our practice started in 2004. We completed over 400 projects, and our management team has 14 years of experience leading BI initiatives. Over 60% of our consultants are former Oracle engineers, and not to mention the fact that we are also an Oracle Authorized Education Center offering training in Oracle BI apps, OBIEE, as well as ODI. Not to mention the fact that Perficient also runs its business on Oracle Business Intelligence. And we also offer a proven implementation methodology. Our solution expertise extends from BI, data warehouse strategy and assessments, to BICS, data visualization cloud service, as well as data sync, OBIEE, Oracle BI apps, data integration, data discovery, Exadata, Exalytics, and Oracle Golden Gate. Before we get started, we wanted to ask a quick question to everybody in the virtual room here. The question is, how confident are you that you have a 360-degree view of your customers today? Please feel free to go ahead and vote. If you're very confident, please select the bottom. If you're somewhat confident, please select the second from the top. If you're not confident at all, please select the top. And if you're confident, please select the third one. So please go ahead and vote. And we see not confident at all leading the horse race here this afternoon. Somewhat confident coming in second. Confident with a few votes, and very confident still at 0. And still, it's coming a little bit tighter between not confident at all and somewhat confident, but it seems like we're settled in at not confident at all. So with that, let's take a look and talk a little bit about blind spots. So a quick description of blind spots. Some of you may remember this slide from driver's education when you were, maybe 15, 16, 17 years old. So as you remember, they draw this very simplistic diagram and tell you, look, I mean, you can see the area in front of the car, without moving your head. That's the stuff that is right directly in front of you. You can see the area behind the car through the rearview mirror, but the gaps in between create blind spots, where if you're not careful in going to turn, you can end up crashing the car. When we translate that into IT, and specifically the view of the customer, what do we get? Well, we have a sample example here. So let's say our hypothetical customer is taking a look and driving their car, and they're looking ahead and they're using Salesforce as their CRM, so they've got great visibility in terms of what's coming down the pipe, and they're using Oracle ERP on the back end, so when they take a look in the rearview mirror, they can see how they performed. But then off on the side, there's Eloqua, which is doing some marketing automation for them. And then off on the other side, there's ServiceMax, running their field service organization. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that your driver is going to spend, the people who are driving your business are going to spend most of their time looking at their pipeline forecasting activities in Salesforce. Occasionally they're going to look in their rearview mirror to see what kind of revenue they've got, what their customer profitability looks like, as well as their customer satisfaction as indicated by customer returns. But then off on the side, if I'm not focused on it, I might miss something like response time or first time fix rate if there's a dip in that, or what my field tech utilization may be if I'm not consistently looking at my ServiceMax data points. And on the Eloqua side, it could be even worse, because if I'm not doing an analysis on my campaign and checking my campaign analytics, looking at my email click-through or looking at my email conversion rate, I may have a good sense as to what's going to be filling that pipeline and where do I need to swerve in terms of going to get that business. So when we talk about those customer blind spots, the real question isn't necessarily just the metrics, but it's all the other parts that could be creating problems for us. So when we talk about gaps in the view of the customer relationship across time, it's easy to go in and pull a pipeline report and closed orders to see what did I close at certain points in time. But what I may not have in that timeline is a good indication of, well, gosh, we were very, very much behind in terms of our field service over a given period of time, and that really soured our customer relationship, and exploring the correlation between those two. I may not have a formal social media listening device to take a look at the social media that's being posted about our company and impacting our brand. If I'm a retail customer, I may not have the ability to do cross-device identity, so I know what customers are going from the laptop to the phone, into the store, and being able to target that customer specifically with the right message at the right time to try to increase that conversion rate. We also see an inability for organizations to deliver personalized customer experiences without the right information for what that customer is browsing for. We also have an inability to apply predictive analytics to customer behavior to optimize the products and services which we're marketing to those customers. And lastly, we have the inability to address the customer issues before the customer brings them to us. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the challenges to eliminate the blind spots. Well, in our very simplistic example, I gave you 4 different applications which an organization could be running. But when you dig a little bit deeper, it really comes down to the disparate data sources that you could have. If you recall, we had 4 in the very simple customer blind spot 101 slide. On this slide, as an example, we've got 10. And those 10 include sales orders and transactions. We've got web and social media. We've got products and services. We've got prospect lists. We've got competition and market trends. We've got marketing and profile data. We've got contact history, not to mention customer databases which may be utilized by additional parts of the organization. And what all this tells us is that we're really dealing with multiple sources of the truth. And those multiple sources of the truth are driven by several factors which we've got listed here. The first is we have multiple tools with overlapping functionality. When we talk about organizations having multiple sources of the truth, the first thing that we usually look at is what parts of the organizations are purchasing different tools. When you see marketing buying a tool for customers that's different from what sales has, which is different from what customer service in a call center may have, all of a sudden you've got 3 sources of the truth right there, and that's all within an organization that's supposed to be somewhat tied together and working closely together. The tool selection is usually done by department and not necessarily functionality, so what you end up with is something that may work perfectly for marketing but isn't able to be integrated into the rest of the organization. Add to that an inadequate requirement methodology where the methodology does not account for those multiple reporting tools, as well as a proliferation of data, which I'll have a slide on in a second. You'll see a dramatic increase in the volume of the data and the sources that are being captured, and it's really more sources than just a back-end ERP database. In addition, the organizational challenges which I mentioned before in terms of the tool ownership having ownership being driven by those organizations that are purchasing it, what you end up with as a result of that is data fiefdoms, where marketing may own one list, sales may own another list, and customer service may own additional pieces of information. Those data fiefdoms create silos, which create a fundamental challenge to creating a 360-degree view of the customer. In addition, we have a lack of defined sustainment processes. As everybody is probably aware, customer data quality is oftentimes one of the biggest challenges that organizations face. And when you don't have an established group to create and focus on new reporting functionality, chances are it's because you don't have an established group focused on customer data quality. And what that leads to is an ad hoc approach to reporting, and oftentimes reports being generated and driven in different tools and creating multiple sources of the truth. As I mentioned before, we've seen a sustained growth in data volumes over the course of the last 20 years. And it's not necessarily just in IT or technology companies. But as this chart shows, we've seen a huge growth in discrete manufacturing, communications and media, process manufacturing, banking, and healthcare, not to mention securities, professional services, and retail. And when you consider the challenge of trying to migrate some of that data from all the disparate sources that you've got, you really have to take a look and be honest with yourself. And that number one, it starts with a lack of collaboration. And it's the number one challenge to doing data migration. And the fact that you have those data fiefdoms where different people own different silos of information and they continue to maintain that possessive nature and aren't willing to share it from a reporting standpoint. In addition, you'll have a lack of standardization. That standardization usually comes from a practicality of, well, we just bought this one tool to do this one thing and we're not as concerned with integrating it back in, to the back-end reporting system. That lack of standardization can lead to more data quality issues and, again, a lack of trust in the reports that are being generated. You also have just good old-fashioned poor system design where somebody didn't design the database as they should have. They designed it for as they needed at that point in time and didn't take into consideration future uses and the fact that they may need to expand that database at a certain point in time from a field standpoint to capture and do better reporting. You also have inaccurate information, not to mention poor interpretation of business rules. So with that sort of brief overview of some of the challenges of creating a 360-degree view of the customer, I want to take a quick survey. Here we've got several examples. So if you think about your organization, what's preventing you or keeping you from achieving a 360-degree view of your customer? Is it data silos? Is it structured and unstructured data? Is it the ability to join customer sources? Is it data quality and key attributes? Is it the timeliness of information? Or is there some other factor out there driving you to, or preventing you from creating that 360-degree view of your customer? And as we take a look at the leaderboard, it is data silos leading at the moment. Oh, but data quality is also coming into a strong second place. But data silos continues to jump ahead. And as our vote total begins to slow a little bit, data silos edging out data quality on key attributes. So as we take a look at the final summary here, 67% of you said it was data silos, 58% said it was data quality. The timeliness seems to be less of a concern, and the structured versus unstructured data, as well as the ability to join customer sources, also issues, but less of a concern at this point in time. So with that, I'm going to transition to Shiv. Shiv's going to talk about some of the considerations for doing the data migration and then walk you through an approach to building a complete 360-degree view of the customer.
Thanks, Tom. Hello, everyone. So let's start with the data migration challenges. So in a customer 360 project, we should focus on making substantial improvements in 5 key areas, really. Improve data quality, create linkages across our various systems, centralize disparate information, transform the data to enable action and insights, and streamline the manner in which data is accessed and available. Now, each pillar contains a stream of work broken into parallel paths to accelerate the rollout and adoption of this platform. Data quality is very important. We need to make sure that users trust the data. We need to put together a data governance and data quality management process to ensure that there are no inconsistencies in our data. And this can be achieved by reducing manual process and automating the process to pull and cleanse our data. Data elements and metrics that is used by different business user groups should be standardized. And this seems to be a challenge, especially in large organizations. The decisions has to be enforced from the top management. Once the data has been consolidated, next we need to think about establishing links between data sets coming from different applications. Then we need to structure the data in a format which facilitates reporting and analytics. We also need to think about performance and scalability as the data volume continues to grow over time. What impact will this have on the outline data structure, and will it be able to support the performance in the next 2, 3, 5 years horizon? Can we build upon the existing architecture to support performance by maybe adding additional hardwares? So we need to think about that. Finally, it is about enabling the end users. We need to think about user adoption strategies that should be put in place. If users are not adopting a modern business intelligence platform, there is not much value it can add to your organization. Now, while we build dashboards and reports for executives and lines of business to consume off of their laptops and mobile devices, we also need to be able to empower super users so they can create ad hoc reports and complex data visualizations to drill and identify problems and opportunities. Finally, we also need to think about a security infrastructure on top of the data sets we have consolidated so that role-based security rules can be applied, whether it be object level, column level, or data level security rules that needs to be put in place for different user groups. The recommended solution should be able to use modern methods to consolidate, cleanse, and define metrics and KPIs that the users can use on top of the state-of-the-art analytics platform. With advancements in technology, costs to build a solution like this has significantly gone down. And most importantly, we need to ensure that the risks has been minimized to meet the timeline and budget allocated for a project like this. So now let us switch gears and talk a little bit about the approach to building a complete view so that the solution empowers business users to make strategic decisions. There are really 4 stages of strategic marketing. First of all, we need to perform 3C analysis, that is, analyze our customer, company, as well as competitor to identify the problems as to why we are losing to our competition, or why are they taking away our market share on the segment of customers we had targeted to expand our market share. Second, we want to outline our strategies as to how are we going to differentiate ourselves to the targeted segment, whether it's on price or differentiated products and services. Third, we need to outline marketing tactics as to which products are we going to push to the market, at what price, and in which regions, which promotion strategies gives us the most ROI. And finally, we need to implement the outlined strategies and monitor this on a modern platform. Today, with a modern platform, we can make data-driven marketing decisions. We have the ability to make predictions on our investment. We can capture data on consumer behavior, perform advanced analytics, predict the ROI that we are going to get even before launching our product. Based on the advanced analytics we perform, we can target to promote our product at a price and place where our solution predicts that we are going to get the most lift or return on our investment. So what is big data? Many of our customers want to understand what is big data and how can it help them as an organization. Big data really is your ability to do advanced analytics on large volumes of data stored in different applications, whether it be in structured or relational tables or unstructured in files. The most important and the complex part in a big data initiative is really thinking about the type of business problems that you can solve today with these modern tools, which you were not able to do before, which can really help different departments within your organization, whether it be increasing revenue or reducing cost and inefficiencies. As Doug Merrill, former Google CIO, very nicely puts it, with too little data, you won't be able to make any conclusions that you trust. with loads of data, you'll find relationships that aren't real. Big data isn't about bits, it's about talent. So with that, now let us take a look at the architecture. Down below, you have all the disparate applications which stores some forms of your customer data. We will pull, cleanse, and organize consolidated data on a cloud infrastructure. Next, we have modern analytical tools with metrics and KPIs that provides views for different lines of business, from marketing and sales to commerce, service, and social. This infrastructure facilitates cross-functional analysis between these different departments, so the service department knows it's the same customer who they have had a long working relationship with, all of which is part of a unified customer experience. Now, I would like to deep dive a little bit on just one area of Customer 360, which is marketing analytics. So what is marketing analytics? It really consists of a marketing database, the engine to integrate the data, and most importantly, the tools that can help analyze data through the lens of marketing framework. The benefit of all this is that as an organization, we can formulate a logical marketing strategy, quantify our benefits, and increase our ROI. Again, with technological advancements, marketing is now a quantifiable database function, and business users should always use analytics to drive marketing decisions. So let's talk about a customer case study. Over the years, as this customer's business expanded into new marketing categories, they continued to adopt hybrid applications. They had both on-premise as well as different cloud applications to support their growing need. Multiple applications siloed the customer information across the business, limiting the view of the customer and ability to analyze different marketing initiatives. They faced a number of challenges while trying to build a Customer 360. Things like, customer data was siloed across the business. They had limited ability to join customer data coming from multiple different applications, multiple and incomplete definitions of customer, data quality concerns on key attributes. It was either missing or inconsistent. They had limited accessibility to those with a valid business need. Timeliness of information was a huge concern. It would take weeks or months to get very simple information in some cases. Operational attributes wasn't available. They had lack of targeted messages, lack of complete information at the point of engagement, and very limited self-service capabilities, primarily because the infrastructure wasn't there. So they were able to overcome this challenge by using a cloud business intelligence platform. The data was consolidated on a cloud database, and Oracle BI Cloud Service was used to empower business users to perform analytics on their consolidated data. One of the huge benefits of having all of your data in one place is the ability to do cross-functional analysis across disparate applications. As you can see in this example here, marketing is able to mash up data with procurement and spend analytics to answer questions like, how many of my top customers bought products after the launch of the new marketing campaign? So at Perficient, we have pre-built marketing analytics on BICS, which comes with an integration template that can go into many different applications. We also have data models, pre-built metrics, dashboards, and reports, which are relevant to a customers across different industries. So in the next few slides, I would like to walk you through our content. So again, it is a marketing analytics dashboards and reports. These are useful to marketing managers, marketing analysts, and also some higher level reports that are suitable for a VP level. We have a fairly comprehensive IP, and what we'll go over covers some of the areas, but not everything that the model entails. So marketing manager wants to know the impact of our marketing campaigns on the sales pipeline and ultimately revenue. We want to be able to measure and compare the effectiveness of our campaigns to know what we're doing right and what can we learn from our successes to apply that intelligent information to our less effective campaigns, and at what stage of the process do we need to improve. So we want to be able to analyze all of those. As you can see here in this example, the email channel looks good. It is well staggered from loaded to acceptances. I have the ability to click on it and see that the corresponding response rate and lead conversion rate for the email channel. The telephone channel shows there is a significant drop here from the yellow bar, which is the number of people who responded. So to get more information on why this is low, I can drill down on the gaze. This will take me to a detailed report broken down by individual campaigns in that channel. On your right, from the high-level pie charts, I can tell that even though most of the people who were targeted and those who responded are from either the email or telephone channels, when it comes to the acceptances, most of these are generated through the email channel. So I know that my telephone channel is effective in getting me a lot of responses, but the conversion to acceptance is not working well through that channel. So we need to take a corrective action, focusing on enhancing the process of converting those phone responders into successful orders. So this dashboard page analyzes my customer demographics. What we're looking at here are analysis by income range, age group, gender, and marital status. And of course, more can be added based on the nature of your business. By looking at the income range Pareto chart, I can easily see that if I target the cohort in the income range from 60,000 to 120,000, I'm targeting close to 80% of my customers. And I can change the type of these chart or switch to a table view, which is very, very dynamic. I can easily move columns around, which is a feature that comes in handy when I'm looking at larger tables with more data sets. By looking at the waterfall graph to the right by age range, I quickly notice that most of my customers are in the age group 35 to 45, so I can now strategize on how to bring in more customers from the other age groups and plan for campaigns tailored for those age groups that I'm lacking. In a similar way, we can make such decisions by looking at the other two demographics as well. As an analyst, I can also analyze customer interactions, average weeks between campaigns. This shows me how frequently I'm targeting specific customer segments. And the graph on the right is telling me how much of the customers are over or under promoted. So we see here most of the customers got targeted only once compared to those who received 2 or 3 promotions. Here is where we go to understand things around product popularity and growth by customer segment. This gives us insight into what is the next best product to promote to a certain group of people, which products are resulting in better customer retention. The product composition, from here we see which products are better able to penetrate different segments of the customers. Here we have it by household. So by looking at just the basics segment, for example, we see a product composition showing that most of those have auto insurance at 52% within that group. Household acquisition by product. Here we have a trend of new household acquisitions by product. The colors signifies which products are experiencing higher growth compared to the rest of the products. The table to the left has variance indicators month to month showing which products are getting better over time or having lower growth. Attrition and retention by product. Here is where we can detect underperforming groups of our customers and learn from what is working well with other groups to apply that insight into the less performing groups. For example, if I select the highly loyal segment and run this report, I get a trend of our households broken down by product. So I see most of the households within the highly loyal segment that have either home or auto in blue and green. On the graphs below, I see the attrition and retention rates for those households to know which products are causing our customers to defect and which products are better able to retain them. On the retention rate trend, I see that home and auto are much better at retaining customers than liability and life. And this is actually working well for the segment because most of the household are indeed home or auto insurance owners. Planning. So as a VP, I want to keep an eye on campaign funding and spending. I come to the planning page where I can easily compare budgets assigned for each plan period against actual spending. I can take a look at the opportunity pipeline, shows me the sales pipeline in its current state as it compares to the goals. We see a percentage to the target across each stage of the pipeline. Status of marketing funds allocated and spent. This shows me by reason how much was requested versus budgeted versus actual invoiced. I can click on the reason from the left side and get a spending trend of that reason here next to it on the right side. Click on North, for example, and see how actual is trending against the budget for the North region. Additionally, there is quite a bit of content around campaign detail, responses by campaign, interactions per campaign. We also have the customer contact detail, quite a bit of attribute which captures customer demographics. And then there is sales. There is pre-built metrics, dashboards, and reports, focusing more on the sales side as well. So what are some of the best practices when considering cloud business intelligence? So we need to start with a prioritized list of blind spots, some of which was touched upon by Tom. We need to understand what are the changing behavior of our customers, the competition, and the company that we want to be able to track and make strategic decisions, and ultimately be able to outline tactical plans related to product performance, pricing strategies, promotion, and markets the firm needs to focus on or exit from. We need to think about how can we empower the marketing team so they can make strategic decisions regarding customer segments to target and therefore maximize the return on the marketing budget by efficiently allocating the company's marketing dollars. Once we have the requirements clearly outlined, next we need to put together a business intelligence deployment methodology to ensure user adoption and data quality. By thinking about using the pre-built content offered by partners like Perficient, we can significantly reduce the implementation time and project risks. Finally, roll it out to the different business user groups, whether it be pre-built dashboards and reports for the executives to providing ad hoc and data visualization capabilities to the analysts and the super users. So in terms of the overall value of this, first and foremost, it is the pre-built content and the insights that help you manage your business better. But from an IT perspective, there's also a tremendous value in terms of accelerating the time to implement and lowering overall total cost of ownership. And what you see in the visual in front of you is this on the left is sort of the time period spent in generally building this by yourself. Typically, if you were to build an analytic application yourself, you start by doing business requirements gathering, source system analysis to look at where the data might reside, developing extraction mappings, creating the data model, defining the metadata, building the reports and dashboards, and rolling it all out. And by having all of this packaged up for you, you can dramatically compress those cycles to be able to implement these much, much faster. So what typically might take months or in a lot of cases even years, very commonly can be done in a matter of weeks or a couple of months, depending on what level of customizations might be required. So we follow an Agile implementation methodology. We want to make sure user adoption, data quality are built into our process. So we start with sharing best practices from other successful engagements and case studies to outline requirements focused on driving value to the business. We train the users during the implementation process so they are able to perform testing during the project, during the engagement. And after an initial rollout, we help organizations build a BI competency center and most importantly be self-sufficient as their business users continue to adopt modern analytics platform and become a more data-driven organizations. So with that, we have a third polling question. Are you considering addressing your blind spots to build a customer 360-degree view? Yes, no, haven't thought about it yet. So it looks like 55% or so have not really thought about it. Okay, so with that, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to Susan for the questions.
Thank you, Shiv. As Shiv mentioned, we're going to begin the Q&A portion of today's event. If you haven't had a chance to pose your question and type it into the chat window, please do so now. We have a couple that have come in, so we'll go ahead and start with those, but please go ahead and take the time now to enter your questions for either Shiv or Tom. So with that, I'll ask the first question. This comes from Brad, and he wants to know how much does it cost to purchase the pre-built analytics solution that was shown today, and is the IP only available for the cloud? Shiv, is that one you'd like to take for us?
Yeah, sure. So the content that we have built here at Perficient, we don't really charge for that, obviously in lieu of the services. And one of the main reasons why we have built that is really for customers to be able to adopt cloud, modernize their business intelligence platform by using a modern tool like Oracle BI Cloud Services. So really to answer that question, there is no charge for using our content.
Well, I bet Brad will like that answer. So we have
what about the question? Sorry, Susan. Shiv, what about whether it can be used on-prem or just in the cloud?
Good point.
Right. So the content that we have built is focused more for the cloud applications. However, the data model, the KPIs and metrics, and all of that is transferable to the on-premise instance as well. Now, as far as the on-premise, there are Oracle's pre-built content that customers could think of using as well. But again, our content has been primarily focused on the cloud and for customers trying to adopt cloud.
Thanks, Shiv. We have another question here. This comes from Bill. He wants to know, what is the typical implementation timeline for a go-live solution?
So the approach that we take, right, an Agile implementation approach where we want to understand which part of the business, what needs can we fulfill in the near short term, and then continue to build upon that. So evolve over time. So typical implementation projects runs anywhere from 9 to 12 weeks for the initial go live, and then we continue to have incremental go lives expanding every 6 weeks or so. So that's the typical approach that we have seen at a number of our customers.
We have a sort of a follow-on question to that. How many customers have actually deployed this solution?
So as of right now, there are at least 6 of our customers who have deployed this solution on BI Cloud Services and have enabled their marketing department to be able to use some of this content. But we are seeing, and we continue to see a lot of adoption and migration from a lot of on-premises customers also that are considering to move to the cloud in terms of taking that step and leaning on some of these pre-built content like what we have to really get the jump start and reduce implementation risk, shorten that time. So that's what we continue to see.
Okay, great. We have a question here from Michael. Michael would like to know how we charge for services, license fee, PS.
So I'll take that one, Susan. So for services, we typically charge either an hourly rate for the consultant work that's being done, and we'll come in and we'll do an estimate for you, upfront to understand what the environment looks like, and there's obviously no charge for doing the scoping. We have done some fixed fee arrangements in the past, but usually we narrow down that scope much tighter from that standpoint. But it is a one-time services fee that we bill, I should say, for the time that's consumed. There is no perpetual maintenance on the marketing analytics.
Okay, thanks, Tom. At this point in time, I am not seeing any other questions that have come through. So please go ahead and take a moment if you have additional questions. But I'm going to go ahead and advance the slide deck so that we can just kind of do our wrap-up. But we can certainly take time if somebody has a question that they didn't get a chance to ask yet. I always like to remind people at this point in time that we did record today's event, so the recording will be available and will be sent to you, along with a link to these slides as well. So another great thing to remember is that Perficient has a wealth of rich content available online. So please make sure to follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and check out our blog. If you haven't referred to the Oracle blog yet, it's a great resource that our consultants are blogging regularly for us and sharing wonderful rich content. And the other thing I'd like to mention at this point in time is we've got a webinar coming up just next month here. It's OrthoFix Improves Financial Close and Consolidations with Oracle Cloud. So mark your calendars for February 21st. That one is coming up. And if anybody is attending Collaborate, we certainly are exhibiting there. So by all means, please stop by our booth if you plan to attend. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I don't see any additional questions that come in. So I'd like to thank today's speakers, Tom and Shiv. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on today's call, and we'd hope to see you online in the future.